Sorry if the lighting or anything is off, it's like 10 at night. I'm just trying to finally film this week. I've had a busy week. Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my social anxiety because things are changing, but also there are a few things that I've learned in the past little while that I think has been helpful, or that I've come to realize as I was trying to make this update video. So I'm going to be sharing them with you in hopes that they might help you as well. I think because it's June and school's coming to an end and things are changing or getting ready to change, that I feel this sense of urgency to accomplish and do things, but I do feel more confident, and I think that might be because things are ending, so I'm not too worried about messing up anything because I won't have to survive with people if things go wrong. So on the last day of actual school, I had people sign my yearbook, and I hadn't really done that before because I really didn't have friends or people that I cared enough about or that I thought would care enough about me to write in my yearbook, but I actually went around and asked people if I could write in theirs and if they could write in mine. What they wrote in my yearbook and what I wrote in their yearbook for a few people was pretty similar, and we both kind of wanted to hang out and get to know each other more. Since it was the end of the year and I'm okay, this is your last chance, this is your grade 12 year, do it or you'll kind of hate yourself. They seem to really like me, which is good. It's just kind of that reassurance that I needed to overcome my social anxiety. Since it is June and things are ending, I kind of feel there's almost no point to do that because it'll probably get cut off eventually, but that reduces my stress a lot more knowing that, because then I just don't worry about trying to keep it too long term and just kind of going with the flow. I'm not trying to do anything any more than just be myself, which is really what you should do anyway. And plus, I've just kind of had this idea lately that it doesn't need to last forever to be meaningful, and I kind of want to make a video about that actually, but I think that's been my motive a lot lately. The yearbooks gave me a chance to say how I actually felt about people. I'm becoming more open to new experiences. I'm not overthinking them, I'm just letting them be because I want to experience and explore more. And I think this also has a lot to do with my independence that I talked about in my separation anxiety video, because, I'm moving on to university and kind of adult life, which is frightening, very frightening for people with anxiety. Another reason why I'm able to be more social and connect with people lately is because I always remember that everyone has something to offer. Think about how many different elements there are to you and how every single person is different, and you can learn something from every person and every relationship and interaction you have. You're sharing bits and pieces of yourself and gaining bits of them. So as for being social, I've organized hangouts with 3 different people this week, and 2 of them are new people that I haven't previously hung out with or I haven't talked to very much. First hangout of the week was on Monday with one of the new people I mentioned. We actually held conversation surprisingly well. I usually have to get pretty close to somebody in order to talk with them a lot. I think I've actually learned how to hold a conversation well enough, at least. Of course, the other person, it helps if they are fluent in social skills. Again, I would love to make a video about how to have more conversations and social skills and stuff, but not sure if I've really learned enough to quite get there yet, so I'll just mention 3 things that might be helpful. Number 1, open up about yourself. Don't just rely on the other person to carry the conversation. If they say something or ask you a question, be sure to be honest and go into depth about it, even if it's just how are you feeling. Some people like to have more small talk at first, but I find it helps if you go a little deeper. Don't panic. Yes, I know, saying that for someone who has social anxiety is ridiculous. If you can get away from your anxiety for a minute, it will help you focus on more what you want to say. I think it just more comes with practice, honestly. Also, if they're hanging out with you, they probably already like you, or you're still both there and both present, so don't be worried about them not liking you. Number 3, ask them questions. If you're kind of at a roadblock and you're not really sure what to do, ask about them. Make sure you take an interest in them, compliment them when it seems convenient in the conversation. If you make them feel good, then they'll feel better about you. Tomorrow I'm hanging out with another new person and I am going to a party. That's a long, full, committed day of socializing, which is frightening because I need my alone time to recharge. It's just a lot of mental work, so I'm gonna be exhausted. I'm going to my first ever real high school party, and I've thought about it a lot that I do want to have the experience, even if it's not like the best experience to have. And my social anxiety is getting better. I'm going out of my way to make sure it happens. Like, I'm organizing things, and I don't have any time where I'm like alone for a long period of time and then I go out, because I feel like I have to make it relatively consistent in order to stay comfortable enough, because through doing that it kind of creates this like positive cycle thing where like the more I go out, the more comfortable I become. Who would have thought? It's becoming more natural because like I just know that I can handle it because I've been doing it so often. Although I am like pushing myself to go out and do things, I am making sure I do have time to be alone, because I need that in order to maintain constant healthy social interaction, especially without overwhelming myself. I'm still struggling with self-deprecation. It's more with people I'm more comfortable with, so I can like actually open up about how I'm feeling and I don't feel like I have to hold it all inside. But then I end up getting attached to the thought that like I'm not good enough, and then I just start spilling out all these really negative, self-hateful things about myself. Would not recommend, but I do think it's good that I'm talking about my feelings if I don't feel great, because holding it inside doesn't help either. I just need to not like go into depth about them, like I can get them out and then I can, you know, acknowledge, don't dwell. Actually, it's really funny because I've noticed lately that whenever I get nervous or anxious, I start talking really fast, like I kind of talk myself into a downward spiral. However, thankfully, I have kind friends who uplift me and like catch me before I get too low most of the time. I saw this caption on Instagram yesterday. I will link it in the description below, and I'm just going to read out or mention a part of it. They saw two people having a conversation and their friend or whoever just said, "Please don't talk to my friend that way," as if what they were saying was like another person talking to them. And they went on to say that they've also been struggling with being unkind to themselves for not being enough. I know that I'm enough for other people, I just don't reach my own high standards of where I think I should be. Which might have to do with OCPD and being a perfectionist, but it might just be that I don't have the greatest self-confidence in the world. Also, I did want to mention that oftentimes when I am saying something bad about myself and then I continue, even though they might try to say something like, "No, you're not stupid, you're not lame, like you're fine," then I'll go back on that and be like, "No, like I'm not," because, you know, I'm just panicking and like freaking myself out. But then they've said to me a few times like, "Well, that's quite rude." I don't think they mean it literally, they might just be trying to like, you know, make me feel better, but it does make me think about it in a different way. What they're telling me is their perspective and opinion, and I'm just kind of like completely discounting it as if it's not relevant or true at all. Open my mind up to see things how it's actually, rather than being so caught up in my own mind. Hopefully you learned something or you enjoyed the update. Moral of the story: it's good to talk to people. Good things come out of things that you are afraid of. So, thank you for watching. See you later. Bye. But like I'm holding my gear. That's not an expression. Actually, I have something else to say. No shit, Sherlock.